Okay, this is the first lecture of chapter 25. I already recorded that, but the recording was not that good, so therefore I'm recording it again. This is the first topic of the chapter 25, Man and His Environment. Uh, you probably know environment. What is environment? The human life or human being are surrounded by air, water, soil, and some other living organisms also surround the human beings. All this air, water, earth, and the living organism make the environment of man. Air is known as the atmosphere, water is known as the hydrosphere, earth is known as lithosphere, and the living organisms are making the biosphere. So environment of an organism consists of atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. Environment, human beings or man or human beings are living in environment, and that environment is a reservoir of resources. Human beings or living organisms obtain resources from obtain resources from the environment, or we can say that environment is a source of resources. उर्दू में हम कह सकते हैं कि ये ज़रिया है वसाइल का, सोर्स है रिसोर्सेज का. अब जितने भी रिसोर्सेज हैं इन्वायरमेंट में वो दो सूरतों में हैं. Either the resources are in the form of energy, so there are energy resources, and the other are the material form, material form. So दो किस्म के resources हैं. Either the resources are in the form of energy or the resources are in the form of materials. So when the resources are in the form of energy, the energy flow through different components of the environment. I'm giving you the example. In sunlight or light, sunlight is a source of energy which is obtained and absorbed by the plants. The plants convert that energy into chemical energy, and some part of that energy is lost in the form of heat. Then the energy is converted into chemical form, into the organic matter. The organic matter is taken from the plants by the animals, herbivores, carnivores, whatever they are. So they obtain energy from that, and the energy, the organic molecules are broken down, and some part of the energy is converted into heat, and ultimately all that energy is, in one way or other way, converted into heat. But this energy never goes back to the sun from where the energy is obtained, basically. So that is known as a one-way flow, or simply it is known as a flow of energy. The other one are the material things, for example nitrogen, water, carbon dioxide, sulfur. So these are known as the material form of the resources, and that material form of the resources are cycling through different components of the environment. Again, I'm giving you the example you have already gone through in much detail about it. Nitrogen is present in atmosphere, that comes to the soil. डिफरेंट तरीके हैं नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन के, उनके ज़रिए सॉइल में आ जाएगा. सॉइल से those ammonium and nitrates are obtained by the plants. The plants convert that into DNA, RNA, मुख्तलिफ फॉर्म्स में उनको convert करेगा. But then and the plants are eaten by the animals. So the nitrogen is present in atmosphere, comes to the soil से plants में, plants से animals में. और जब animals excrete करेंगे या उनकी death होगी, plants excrete करेंगे या उनकी death होगी, so that nitrogen will go back to the free form in the soil, or denitrification process में it will go back to the atmosphere again. Okay, so this is one way. That cycling of resources, different types of resources, is known as biogeochemical cycles. Bio for living bodies, bio for living bodies, biochemicals uh, for the different types of chemical, geo for the earth. So there is a cycling of different resources, material form of resources, through the living organism and earth and environment, that is known as. If you are talking about the bioelements, there are 16 or 18 bioelements, of which sulfur, phosphorus, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, they are known as major, and they are making the living, they are the components of organic matter. Potassium and calcium are also some important components, but they are present in ionic form in protoplasm, and they are not the components of the organic molecules usually. Okay, so these are known as the major, these 6 or 8 are known as the major or macro bioelements. The rest, zinc, magnesium, copper, iron, etc., they are known as the minor or micro bioelements. Out of those different types of biogeochemical cycles, water cycle is one of the important biogeochemical cycle. Before we go to the water cycle, first you should understand something about the about the water. You know, the total component of water, just take it like 100%. So out of that water, 100% water, 97% is present in ocean or salty water. Okay, 97% water is present in oceans, which is a salty water. And that 97% of water is not used by the plants and animals. And why they are not used by the plants and animals? Because of their higher salt content. This is not in use of plants and animal. Human beings cannot use that water, plants and animals as well. The rest of the 3% of water, that is known as fresh water. So there are two types of water. 97% water is known as marine water, which is present in ocean. There only 3% of the water is known as fresh water. Only 3% is known as fresh water. Out of that fresh water, 2% is present in ice, in the form of ice, or that is known as solid form. Again, this is cannot be used by the plants and animals, this 2%. So you can only 1% of the total water, 1% of the total water is available to plants and animals, and that only 1%, or you can say 33% of the total fresh water is available. 66% of the total fresh water is, we can say, is in the form of ice, or that is known as a solid form. No, just there is a fresh water, 3%. Of that total water, 2% in the form of ice, which is 66% of the fresh water. Okay. So therefore we can say, okay, the water is a very precious resource. 1% of the total water is available, which is 33% of the fresh water that are used by the plants and animals. So therefore we can say that is a precious resource. That is a precious resource, and that makes the hydrologic cycle or water cycle. Now we are somehow discussing the hydrologic and water cycle. Water is present on earth in liquid form. That water is evaporated. The evaporation may be from the soil, the evaporation may be from the plants in the form of transpiration, whatever the case may be. Even that is from the plants and animal and human bodies, but there is evaporation of water. When this water goes into the upper atmosphere, the temperature is low, so the evaporated water is condensed, or evaporated water is condensed, and when it is condensed, they form clouds. And when they form clouds, temperature become there is the temperature is low, they form moisture. The moisture form drops. The drops are in come back to the come back to the earth in the form of rain, and that is known as precipitated water. In simple words, we can say that the water is evaporated in the upper atmosphere. Due to low temperature, the water is condensed. When it is condensed, they form clouds. When they form clouds, they know that they form moisture, they form drops, and the drop because of the because of the gravity, the drops come to the earth, and that is called rain or precipitated water. When the water comes to the earth, they penetrate in the earth or soil, ग्राउंड वाटर. जब ये पानी ज़मीन तक पहुंचता है तो ये सॉइल में पेनिट्रेट करता है, और उसी ये जब ज़मीन तक पहुंच जाएगा तो इनके दो काम हो जाएंगे इस पानी के साथ. आइदर दिस वाटर इज आइदर ये जो पानी है ये सॉइल उनको एब्जॉर्ब करेगा, डिपेंड करेगा वो सॉइल की वाटर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी पर. ठीक. So when the water comes back to the when the water comes to the soil, the water is either absorbed. The water is either absorbed by the soil, and this depends on the absorption capacity of the soil. बहुत सी चीज़ें उस पर डिपेंड करेगा. अगर कहीं पर सॉइल में ऑर्गेनिक मैटर ज़्यादा है, वहाँ पर क्ले ज़्यादा है, तो वहाँ पर वाटर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी ज़्यादा होगी. जहाँ पे स्लोप कम है तो वाटर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी ज़्यादा होगी. ठीक. या ये वाटर जो है दैट विल फ्लो ओवर द सरफेस, एंड दैट इज़ नोन एज रन ऑफ वाटर. सॉरी, दैट इज़ नोन एज रन ऑफ वाटर. जो पानी एब्जॉर्ब हो जाए, इसके अलावा अगर ज़्यादा बारिशें हो रही हैं तो कुछ पानी सरफेस पर फ्लो करेगा, एंड दैट इज़ नोन एज रन ऑफ वाटर, एंड दैट वाटर विल गो इनटू द स्ट्रीम्स एंड रिवर्स, द रन ऑफ वाटर. Whether the water is absorbed by the soil or that is the runoff water, जो बारिश का पानी या तो absorb हो जाएगा या that run over the surface of the soil. Again it depends on different factors. ये जो runoff water है, अगर there is a sandy soil तो वहाँ पर जो holding capacity है वो कम होगी, absorption capacity कम होगी, so the water will flow over the surface. जहाँ पर surface जो है slope ज़्यादा है तो वहाँ पर absorption कम होगी, और runoff water पहाड़ों पर ये runoff ज़्यादा होगा as compared to the flat and plain areas उसकी निस्बत. Whatever, this water is absorbed by the plants. या तो दोबारा ये प्लांट्स उनको एब्जॉर्ब करेगा सॉइल से, प्लांट्स ट्रांसपायर करेंगे, इवापोरेट होगा, वापस जाएगा, या सरफेस से भी ये क्या हो सकता है, सरफेस से भी ये एब्जॉर्ब हो इवापोरेट हो सकता है. दैट कैन बी इवापोरेटेड फ्रॉम द सरफेसेस ऑफ स्ट्रीम्स एंड रिवर्स एंड ओशन. तो ये जब इवापोरेट हो जाएगा वापस ये एटमॉस्फेयर में चला जाएगा, और वहाँ पर दोबारा एक कंडेंस होगा, प्रेसिपिटेट हो जाएगा, ड्रॉप्स बनेंगे और बारिश नीचे बरसेगी. सो दिस इज़ नोन एज व्हाट द वाटर साइकिल. थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग एंड लिसनिंग.